Harmony project invests in people. And more precisely, it invests its time, its energy, its resources in the elusive and daring and powerful thing these people do, which is called writing. We all come together in a communal experience where we're all sharing a common goal: to create meaningful and enlightening work that will have a positive impact on the world. I mean, what's better than that?
This project has been great because I'm kind of the writer where if I put something away, I need time to go back to it and look to it. So this was another wonderful process where they brought in some local actors who are from Indiana, people who had done the New Harmony project before, and they let me bring in 3 actors as well. And we just kind of have been sitting around the table talking about the play. I'm looking at reworking that first draft just to I feel like I have the play but want to expand it and make it just fuller and answer some questions I was really interested in answering. So I feel like this project has been really great. The New Harmony project has been really great because it sort of focuses on my wants and needs.
You know, there is a definite connection to my personal career and New Harmony, because those sessions sitting around the table at the very beginning with Walt and the gang and listening, I literally take something that I learned in New Harmony and apply it to what I'm doing every week of my life. I really do, because that 2-week period was so intense and you focus so intensely on the script and what are you trying to say and why are you doing this? What purpose does this story serve? And it's interesting because when David and Carmen and I sat down to write Home Improvement, we went through the same process for that TV show as we would do in New Harmony. We said, what do we want this series to do? Every guideline that guided the 3 of us in creating Home Improvement, we got from New Harmony.
The New Harmony Project elevates stories of hope, courage, and the resiliency of the human spirit. We do this by supporting writers. For more than 3 decades, we have summoned writers and collaborators into the utopian landscape of New Harmony, Indiana. Here we slow down time to create a safe and nurturing environment. We center our days around the utopian ideals of peace, harmony, and community. The stories that emerge remind us how brilliant it is to be human, and how, with a little help, we can build a better world. What narrative do you want to create? If it's one of hope, conviction, and courage, we ask you to support us and find your utopia. The journey begins with New Harmony.
Good evening, and welcome to Sunrise, a virtual premiere of 7 short films inspired by hope. My name is Lori Walter Hudson, and I'm the artistic director of the New Harmony Project.
And I'm David Hudson, executive director of the New Harmony Project, and we are so happy to be with you virtually tonight.
The New Harmony Project wants to recognize the importance of understanding and honoring the history of the indigenous land we occupy. We would like to acknowledge that the New Harmony Project holds programs on the ancestral land seized from the Hopewell, Adena, Kickapoo, Miami, Shawnee, and Osage people. We wish to pay respects to those communities and their elders past, present, and future. We recognize that this acknowledgement alone is insufficient and does not undo the legacies of violence and displacement of Indigenous people. We ask you to join us in the ongoing practice of uncovering such truths on the path to decolonization and reconciliation. You can find more information about the Indigenous land you are currently occupying at native-land.ca.
The New Harmony Project exists to create, nurture, and promote stories for the stage and screen that sensitively and truthfully explore the positive aspects of life. When we realized the pandemic was going to keep us from gathering for our 34th annual Writers Conference in New Harmony, Indiana last spring, we started thinking of ways we could connect with and support writers, artists, and audiences alike. So much of what the New Harmony Project offers is a sense of community and a space for rejuvenation. With that in mind, we launched our digital dinners, a delightful 30-minute Zoom gathering focused on connecting with friends old and new. Over 125 people from across the country have participated since we launched, and we guarantee it is one Zoom meeting that you'll actually leave with a smile on your face. The digital dinners continue to run on the second Tuesday of every month, and you can register to attend at newharmonyproject.org/dinner.
Another exciting project that developed were the COVID commissions. We asked writers to share 100 to 300 words on the ideals we've come to associate with our mission: hope, courage, resilience, strength, community, humanity, love, with the idea that maybe we could turn them into some sort of viral video series. In total, we received work back from 17 writers, many old friends of the project and some brand new to our community. The scripts that these incredible artists created are imaginative, beautiful, hopeful stories that made us smile through our tears. Each piece was such a gift, and what followed was an incredible journey that has led us here tonight. In partnership with Greg Malone at Road Pictures here in Indianapolis, we have transformed 7 of these scripts into short films that you'll be experiencing momentarily.
This is the first time in our 34-year history that we know of that the New Harmony Project has not only commissioned work, but produced it as well. We expanded our reach. Beyond the 17 commissioned writers, we employed dozens of artists, including directors, actors, choreographers, dancers, musicians, editors, photographers, and designers from New York City to Los Angeles, and many artists right here in central Indiana. But at our core, we know it all begins with the words, the writer, the story. We felt it was important to showcase the incredible content created beyond these 7 films, so we've built the Sunrise Gallery on our website. There, you can find all 17 commissioned scripts and see each one performed by an amazing indie-based actor. There's behind-the-scenes footage and extended Q&As with the writers and filmmakers as well. And we hope that after tonight you'll explore and share by visiting newharmonyproject.org/sunrise.
If you're new to the project, welcome. We hope you enjoy tonight and that we get to meet virtually or in person very soon. To our NHP family, hi friends! We miss you, we love you, and we can't wait to see you all for big hugs and dinner rolls very soon. And to our friends, new and old, who participated in this project, we cannot say thank you enough. Your talent, your commitment, your perseverance to keep working during this difficult time is truly remarkable. Thank you. We'd also like to thank our board of directors who have worked tirelessly to make sure we had the support to make this project successful. And to the many institutions who lift up our work, your investment in the arts is inspiring, and your recognition of the importance of creating hope-filled stories for the stage and screen is so meaningful. Finally, to our donors, without you, none of this is possible. Your belief in hope and the power of great writing to change the world motivates us daily. Thank you.
It has been a long year full of challenges and triumphs, and though we have come so very far, there's still work to be done. We're asking you tonight to make an investment in hope with a donation to the New Harmony Project. Simply text Sunrise to 50155 to make your pledge, or visit our website at newharmonyproject.org/give. Hope, much like the promise of Sunrise, demands that we push forward no matter the obstacles we may face. These films are an homage to each and every person who has struggled, cried, lost, laughed, and loved this year. You've kept going. You have survived. You are the sunrise.
I live in New York City, which are the ancestral lands of the Lenape people. And we were hit with the pandemic pretty aggressively at the very beginning. I felt a difference, a change in the atmosphere and the environment outside. I was walking around, and I certainly felt a different sense of community. Trying to find my existential place in it all, and trying to take a step back and take stock of this moment, and how I wanted to fit into the puzzle. And yeah, I think it makes me think about the stars and the universe, and makes me think about how big the universe and plus is, and how very small I feel in Constellation to everything.
In this grievous pause, in this existential canvas, in this wide open space, what do you do? Do you tap, tap, tap your relevance into rooms and Zooms and create a sort of flailing that looks like work, hard work, that is really part of the conversation? Or do you bake, bake, bake until the vein bakes?
My name is Dan Meadows, and I worked on Constellation. It's really a poem about the shutdown and the lockdown in New York City, and really his expression of that. There's a lot of ambiguity in poetry, and that's its strength. You want to try and maintain that in the visual piece as much as possible, but it's more of a challenge because visually things have more, they denote more, they mean more, and they can be more explicit in their meaning.
When I first got the script from Greg Malone at Road Pictures, I read the name of the writer, and I instantly knew that it was a Cambodian name, Fichet, it's a very popular Cambodian name. So I instantly thought, wow, I've never ever received a script from another Cambodian artist before. So I instantly read it. I actually pulled over and I read the script in the car with my wife. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And I just fell in love with it. So here is Constellation, and I hope you enjoy it.
In this grievous pause, in this existential canvas, in this wide open space, what do you do? Do you tap, tap, tap your relevancy into rooms and zooms and create a sort of flailing that looks like work? Hard work that is really part of the conversation. Or do you bake, bake, bake until Levan Bakery is your bitch? And you're dunking massive cookies in glasses of milk in the morning, afternoon, and night, and also late night? Or do you finally put pen to paper, or rather fingers to tap, 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 to give birth once and for all to that opus you knew was always inside of you, the one that would give you meaning from here on out, and finally make you sigh, a sense of relief? Or do you run, 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 run for your life, loops around the park, past the sections that are closed, around masked heroes and villains who are out of work and just trying to get some oxygen, some sun and some oxygen after being inside for far too long? Or do you drink, drink, drink? You drunk, drunk, drunk. You drunk, drinking drinker. Happy hour hits, and it's like, well, what are we drinking? What are we cheersing? What are we drunking? Or do you walk onto the streets, onto the platform, onto the train, into the lobby, into the waiting room, into work, where the wide open space feels more like a narrow closing margin, where there's no existential dread, because who's got time for existential dread? Or maybe you'll save that for later, when the lights are low and the low hum of menace turns loud. When the ceiling looks like a constellation of chaos. In my grievous pause, in my existential canvas, in my wide open space, this is what I do, or what I'm going to try to do. Because, let's be real, I do all of the above. Except for the last. I'm going to draw a net and gather your constellation of chaos and turn them back into stars. Because that's what constellations are for. Stargazing.
My name is Mfani Soodafia. The name of my piece is The Love Space. And what inspired it? I have such a love for Ntozake Shange, and one of my favorite pieces of hers was The Love Space Demands. And I guess when I got this project from New Harmony, I was thinking to myself, how do you love? How does one choose to love? What are the difficulties within loving? And I guess I was writing um, for myself a kind of roadmap into how that could occur, um, and how you could build a bridge into learning about walking with and deciding to stand next to another human being or human beings.
I close my eyes, inhale deep, let my body fall, and I imagine you, the person I want to know. In search of the unconditional, I transport myself. And as I open myself to knowing you for a moment, I walk as you walk. And I find myself, I have to adjust. Your strides are longer than mine.
The Love Space was a film I directed. It's a poetry slash choreography piece. For me, the inspiration came from the words. I love the words, and what we really saw was this connection, but yet this disconnection between people. And we see how we all need each other to survive, and love, happiness, sadness, and all of that, and how the importance of, the piece really stood out to me from the words, and it really told this beautiful story and message of connectivity in ourselves and then the people around us. And that's what I wanted to bring out with the characters within the film.
I close my eyes, inhale deep, let my body fall away, and I imagine you, the person I want to know. In search of the unconditional, I transport myself, and as I open myself to knowing you for a moment, I walk as you walk, and I find I have to adjust. Your strides are longer than mine, but in this shared space, together anchored, I can walk as you do, and I shout in delight. Your walking is my running, and I discover the elemental force behind your speech. My thick waves of sibilance give away, morphing into volcanoes and resultant earthquakes. And unlike me, you talk like you're on fire. And then I find it, a welter of pain lodged into your chest, swirling large objects in gray air. So much grief, a grief before this unknown to me. I release into the winds of your pain and feel the battering you do. And in our shared crying, I understand. We now share all our bruises. And then I find it, the dense weighty joy of you. And then I find it, the coarse shredding of your division. And then I find it, the light, the original light that made you. The original light that made me. And we sit at peace inside of our sun. And that's what happened on the day I opened myself to knowing you. That's what happened the day I set aside fear. The day I cast off suspicion. The day I decided to reach out. That's what happened. That's what happened the day I chose to love you inside the unconditional.
My name is James Still, and I wrote the short film, A City of Stories. Yeah, so what inspired me? One thing that comes to mind is it was inspiring to be asked in this moment. During the pandemic, we were a few months into it when I got your invitation, and I was very inspired by the invitation. And it was inspiring not to have time to doubt myself. I didn't do a lot of hand-wringing. I just jumped in and went for what felt true and authentic in this moment.
Last night, I dreamed I was sitting atop Monument Circle in downtown Indianapolis. I was sitting up there with a bronze statue that keeps a steady eye on the city. She is a mashup of ancient and American, international and Midwestern. All of those identities overlapping, not unlike the city she watches. She takes part of her Greek-like robe, drapes it over my shoulder, and tells me her name is Victory. In my dream on this night, I've never heard such a beautiful name.
Hi, I'm Tim Taylor, and I had the pleasure of directing A City of Stories, written by James Still. When I first read the piece, it was like being handed a treasure trove of memories. I grew up in northern Indiana, and Indianapolis was like this city of dreams that was kind of far away. And Monument Circle was the epicenter of that. But if 2020 has taught us one thing, it's that it's not enough for there to be dreams for some. There have to be dreams for all, and those have to be dreams of hope. So it's my hope you'll enjoy this interpretation of James' poem, A City of Stories.
Last night I dreamed I was sitting atop Monument Circle in downtown Indianapolis. I was sitting up there with the bronze statue that keeps a steady eye on the city. She's a mashup of ancient and American, international and Midwestern, all those identities overlapping, not unlike the city she watches. She takes her Greek-like robe and drapes it over my shoulder and tells me her name is Victory. In my dream, on this night, I've never heard such a beautiful name. We're sitting up there, Victory and me, above the city, looking out in every direction. You might think it would be the shapes of buildings and patterns of streets that I notice. But it's the architecture of dreams that fills me with wonder. Because sitting up there with Victory, what I see is what I feel. I'm looking out at a city of stories, stories of beginnings and middles and endings, stories of so many good people inside stories of a place called home. I'm looking out at a city of stories.
What we need in the United States is love and wisdom and compassion toward one another.
Victory takes my hand and says, "You never told me your name." And I say the first thing that comes to mind, Hope. My name is Hope. Victory nods, even smiles a little. Hope, she repeats. You are always welcome here. look out at a city of stories, and I slowly begin waking myself back to sleep, but not before I take one last look. I'll be back, I whisper. Victory nods and says, we'll be here.
Hello, my name is Mike James. I am the director and editor of the film Humanity, written by Isaac Gomez. And the film features archival footage paired with the words written by Isaac, performed by Karen Rodriguez. And it is meant to evoke a sense of connection via the camera lens. And even though we now mostly communicate via Zoom, this is a medium in which we've always sought connection with another person. And so even though we're in these times that are so unprecedented and extraordinary, this is a way that, well, we've always reached out to connect with someone that we care about and someone that we love. And that's what the film's about.
Waves of panic means I'm still alive. I look forward to watching, hearing, seeing my neighbor smoke his cigarettes on his porch, reminding me there is someone else out there living their life while I live mine. Video screens aren't the same, but if I can still see you smile, hear you laugh, see you breathing, watch you dancing, feel your energy when you look at the camera with all the humanity that exists within you that tells me that we are both still alive. Distant, but not distanced.
Things I've learned. Waves of panic means I'm still alive. I look forward to watching, hearing, seeing my neighbor smoke his cigarettes on his porch, reminding me there is someone else out there living their life while I live mine. Video screens aren't the same, but if I can still see you smile, hear you laugh, see you breathing, watch you dancing, feel your energy when you look at the camera with all the humanity that exists within you that tells me we are both still alive, distant but not distanced, alone but not lonely, untouched but not unmoved. I yearn for your embrace when you feel so far away, but it makes me look forward to the day that we get to touch again and how meaningful that will be for the both of us. Will I cry with relief? Will I shake with the shock of your touch? Will I laugh from embarrassment? Will I finally understand what it means to feel alive? alive by the feeling of our hearts beating against each other. When I smell your hair, when I feel your cheek pressed against mine, and when we take that first deep breath together. In the meantime, I will hold on to your Marco Polos, your Zooms, your FaceTimes, like they were letters in the mail. Maybe we were long lost pen pals in our past life. Maybe we are learning how we want to connect in our present life. Maybe there's not much of a difference between the two, because this thing, our current feeling, is our collective humanity. Even with your face mask on, I can still see you smiling by the wrinkle in the corner of your eyes. And I want you to know that I am smiling too.
When asked what is Black Utopia, I couldn't help but think what it is not. There's this thing where everybody wants, to like be living in utopia in their own heads or whatever, and in the real world, but nobody wants to put in the work for like the raw work that needs to be done, the raw love that has to be done in order for utopia to even be possible, Black or otherwise. And that's kind of the message that I'm looking to show in this piece. Is it's raw, it's homeless people, it's drunks, it's families, it's white people, it's Black people. We're not going to activate utopia without everybody. And that's raw hope. Like, people that you don't like, if you're looking to do utopia, you gotta talk to people you don't like. It's like, I want people to feel the type of friction that I feel as a Black man when I wake up and I'm trying to give my life purpose and move forward and be hopeful about things. And I think, under the pandemic and, civil unrest and all those sorts of things, I think having hopeful things are important, but I think now more than ever, I think that it has to be raw. And I think that now more than ever, like, commercial, pretty, beautiful, hopeful imagery isn't gonna cut it anymore.
Ministry File 268869 confers evidence against the resistance. Brought before the Ministry of Truth to determine effectiveness of the doctoring of historical record of the Panopticon portal.
The time is coming. We'll break the bread of heaven for the earth. There will still be gatherings on the public squares, and movements you never dared hope participate in. Farewell to absurd choices. The dreams of dark abyss, rivalries, the prolonged patience, the artificial order of ideas, the ramp of danger, the flight of the seasons, time for everything. May you only take the trouble to practice poetry. Is it not incumbent upon us, who are already living off it, to try and impose what we hold to be our case for future inquiry, in the Panopticon? Do not believe the newspeak. Black Utopia is now.
The evidence present proves New Harmony thought criminals guilty,
of tampering in the memory hole. The ministry contends doublethink is a key tool of self-discipline and condemns Black Utopia thought crimes, maintained in the following found footage. The party declares a victory over anti-panopticon insurgents. This way, everyone gets a chance to be an observer and a subject in the memory hole.
Black Utopia, scene 88, tack 88, panopticon, take 1.
Come on, God, let's go to hunting. Come on, God, let's go to hunting. Your dog bark, he don't see nothing. When my dog bark, he don't see nothing.
Police some assholes, but R.I.P. Floyd. You feel me? Fuck them. But we love y'all. Black people, Black Lives Matters. Yep. Hey, let me say that real quick.
Kind of suffocating at times. You gotta find a little out. I'm on your side.
And then he came around one day and tried to make it right. Too late.
And also legacy also in there on the other side. They also got the eyes of the portrayers, you feel me? They're trying to fix what's going on. We are a part of America, you feel me? That's when we want to move. It's all America, you hear me? We're fighting for the new vote, you hear me? That's what it's all about. It's a real life, real problem. ALL, not the BLM. All lives matter. Welcome to the problem. Success is the story.
Cowards and hysterics, keep your panic to yourselves. Whose side are you on, anyway? Whose side are you on? Whose side are you on? Be on the side of life and hope. We don't know what is coming, but then we never did. The future is always inscrutable, and we have always walked down an open road toward the unknown. When that becomes too much, we duck our heads and take a nap, which is necessary. But now what is necessary is something else. Now what is necessary is a face toward the unknown that will not blink. There is danger out there, most certainly.
Hi, I'm Lindsay, and this next film is titled Courage. This is a film about recognizing that our current pandemic situation is a fact of life. Humanity has been here before. Teresa Rebeck wrote an amazingly inspirational poem for which this film showcases. We must remember to stay positive, have hope, and most importantly, have courage. Working on this film definitely helped me at the beginning of the pandemic because it was just really depressing, and these words gave me courage and hope and kind of changed my outlook.
Cowards and hysterics.
Keep your panic to yourselves.
Whose side are you on, anyway?
Whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?
Be on the side of life and hope.
We don't know what is coming.
But then, we never did.
The future is always inscrutable.
And we have always walked down an open road toward the unknown.
When that becomes too much,
we duck our heads and take a nap.
Which is necessary.
But now, what is necessary is something else.
Now, what is necessary is a face toward the unknown that will not blink.
There is danger out there, most certainly, and enemies large and small,
and obstacles beyond what we have ever seen before.
But these things all have presented themselves in times other than our own.
And those who came before us faced them.
And found solace in the human power to cull meaning out of nothing.
To build beauty upon mystery.
And courage beyond fear.
We
are not
alone.
And this
is nothing
new.
So we must raise our faces to the sun.
It is inevitable.
We tell stories to ourselves and each other always.
That will never change. Courage.
We must only have courage.
Hi, I'm John Leonard Peelmeyer. I wrote The Second Box. I had been writing a new play, that was ultimately all about hope. And mentioned in this play is the story of Prometheus, and within the story of Prometheus is the story of Pandora, which was a little different from what I really remembered it as being. So all of this kind of came together and inspired me to write a new version of the Pandora story, which I thought might be really appropriate for these days and times.
There once was a girl who awoke one morning to find an extraordinary box resting at the foot of her bed. She picks up the box and shakes it. It was beautifully wrapped and weighed practically nothing. What could be inside? It couldn't be very valuable if it weighed practically nothing, could it? She looks at the tag on the box. But what was extraordinary about this box was not only the box itself, but the tag that was tied to the ribbon. Close on the tag, "Do not open ever." How could she possibly resist? The young girl gets off the bed.
I had the real distinct pleasure of collaborating with John Pielmeyer. That was real privilege for me. It's really was a great opportunity to kind of contemporize storytelling, what feels like a very mythological tale that obviously for us feels very relevant to these times.
There once was a girl who awoke one morning to find an extraordinary box resting at the foot of her bed. What could be inside? It was made of stone, old stone. It looked ancient. Since there was no latch, how could it be opened? For 3 days and 3 nights, she tried to put it out of her mind. What kind of box, she wondered, was never meant to be opened? It sat at the end of her bed like a ticking clock. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking of another girl who opened a box she was forbidden to open, and all sorts of bad things flew out, disease and discord and disaster, and some say even death. And the one thing she left inside the box, the one thing the first girl didn't let out, was hope. But that wasn't our girl. And it wasn't this box. Finally, it was time. When our girl opened the box, the things that flew out, though only she could see them, were health and happiness and harmony and heroism. And what our girl left inside was the opposite of hope. It was despair, that little drop of doubt that tells us to expect the worst. And when she was done, she put the box away and never opened it again.
We hope this evening brought you joy and light and reminded you of all the good there is yet to come. We hope you'll share your favorite films with family and friends on social media, and we invite you to visit our virtual gallery to check out all 17 commissions performed by the incredible actors we heard from tonight at newharmonyproject.org/sunrise.
None of this work would be possible without you. In this season of giving, we hope you'll consider a donation to the New Harmony Project by texting SUNRISE to 50155 or visiting our website. We wish each and every one of you health, joy, and most of all, hope.
To close out our evening, we're going to share with you the piece that inspired tonight's theme. Created by a brilliant writer we met through our digital dinners, please enjoy Until Sunrise or When Blue Hours Turn Golden by Frankie D. Gonzalez.
Until Sunrise, or When Blue Hours Turn Golden, a monologue by Frankie D. Gonzalez. Setting, various locations through night and day. I know, it all seems so grim, and I wish I could tell you that it's all a bad dream we'll wake up from, but we know that's not true. I can't promise it will be easy or that it's going to work out to be a storybook ending. I can't say that clear skies ahead because life's always got clouds to hang over some of your days. I can't promise a whole lot of things, but I can guarantee this. As long as life's walked on this planet, there's one certainty after long nights. Sunrise. You understand? Not even the polar night lasts forever. Sunrise comes, always. So I say to you, yes, the night will be long. Grieve, be sad, feel deeply. Those emotions are yours. Embrace them. But don't ever forget that dawn's coming. This is not forever. And if the night is too much, look up. See how distant the stars are from one another, and yet look so close together? That's how we are now. Stars in the night scattered across vast distances, but always together. I'm with you. We're all with you. And soon, very soon, we'll go together where blue hours turn golden, to that place where polar night gives way to midnight sun. We'll make it to where love eternal prevails over our deepest fears. We'll see a show, eat some food, look at the flowers blossom, and watch the leaves change colors. We'll embrace.
It's okay. Cry for now. I understand. Remember, you're not alone and you're loved. Just hold on. I can't promise much, but I can promise you a sunrise after the long night. You've got strength beyond measure. I'm so very proud of how far you've come in this. I'll see you at sunrise.